going, okay, it's there.
Right. Yeah, but it's like, because what? You're getting like 20-degree weather too, and that sucks. And
yeah, and it would be like
you're not used to it.
17, 18 at night,
That's
and
disgusting.
62 in the middle of the day.
Yeah, no, that's no good. It's like, it's kind of like what my mom's going through. It's like, it hits 60 and she's freezing. Here 60. I'm dying for 60 here.
Oh my God, no,
like,
no.
What is it now? It's 27 now.
Well, it's 40.
It's a veritable heat wave.
No, it is 44, and my nipples are hard, and my dreams ache. So, yeah. And I'm inside. But it's like, it's crazy because I swear, it's like you cannot knock the fucking chill out of the air.
Yeah.
It's humid and drafty in here, and it's like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, and I mean, for me, it's like, and any little movement heats me up in the opposite direction. So if I do a little cleaning, now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, it's too hot. But then it's like, I open up the window and now it's way too cold.
Yeah, it's not for me. Not for me at all.
It's not for anybody.
Good morning. Hey, did the groundhog see its fucking shadow and shit?
I have no idea. It probably
okay. So
like
good morning,
person.
Everyone. It is Groundhog's Day, February 2nd, 2026. What did Punxsutawney Phil see? We don't fucking know. Fuck y'all, and somebody let us know what the fucking groundhog said or some shit. I hope they didn't drop him and kill him this year. That's all.
Right, I know, really.
Anyway, you ready for this stuff?
Absolutely not, but hit it. That was pretty appropriate.
It is. It
works. That works.
Dude, I have to flip my avatars so I face you. Because this is weird. Because I feel like I'm looking away from you.
Oh, no.
Man.
You're side-eyeing the audience. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
You're keeping an eye on
Why
everybody.
are you here?
Oh, hello.
Good morning, Rob.
Who else? Good morning. Oh, hello. Good morning, Joseph. Good morning. Good morning, Lou.
Nobody else.
I hope we're all, I hope we're all like cozy wherever we are. Because as the Swedish say, you are not cold. You are just underdressed.
Dude, I can't put on any more clothes. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, you want to hear this sad Southern tale? I got on 2 pairs of socks, a pair of thick fucking capybara slippers, some pajama pants with jeans over them.
Oh my
God. A camisole and a fucking t-shirt and some old lady grandma's shawl my mom decided to give me for Christmas because she has no idea what the fuck I'm into or like.
Well, so, hey, at least it works now, right? It's very
a bandana and a beanie.
Right, yeah.
And I'm still cold.
Yeah,
and the heater's on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Put on a sweater. More sweaters. Be like this inside the house.
Notice I didn't say underwear.
Well, hey, after all that, does it matter? Oh my goodness. So hello everyone. Oh yes, and by the way, yes, I see you, our beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. If you are joining us on YouTube or catching us on a link somewhere that we don't know about, welcome and join the sexy people in the chat. And while you're here, make sure fuck was that?
What the fuck was that? I started making some crazy noises this morning.
That's really right. It's like really.
He sounded like he was hacking.
Yeah, which wouldn't surprise me. Which wouldn't surprise me, because Lorraine had said that when she was living in Florida, right, she had Einstein on a balcony, and the neighbors below her was like the old guy especially would just spend the morning just hacking up and spitting over the balcony.
Oh shit, that sounds like what he just did. He sounded like he was doing that clearing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. So yes, if you are joining us now, that's a parrot, by the way. If you're joining us now, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. Oh my goodness. And now the actual intro. Hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage. I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
See, this business is filled to the brim with unrealistic motherfuckers.
Oh my God, perfection.
Oh, and I'm the artist for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales and the creator of Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, a medieval fantasy drama you can read online at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And if you are following the individual issues on Kickstarter, the pre-launch page for issue 12 is live right now. The link is in the chat and in the show notes, so make sure you hit the notify me button so you get notified through email exactly when the Kickstarter goes live, because I don't have an actual date yet. Although I have finished inking and everything else. I just need to do the flats for it, but I still don't feel confident enough to give an exact date yet. But it will be soon. So hit that link so you get notified. Also, you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art. Or if you are following us on the Indie Comics Network, which this also simulcasts through, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And my co-host, the always inveritable Nita Lanning.
Yo, I'm just Nita now. Just Nita.
Right, you're like Cher.
It's fucking awesome. Just Nita.
You don't have to worry about the network anymore. Oh, and it's funny because you had told me that it's like, oh yeah, wait until you start getting all those copyright notices.
You're getting them, huh? Every episode, every
time. And yeah, so now what I do is I just like hit the option that says, remove music or remove, without removing.
Don't do that. Don't do that, because here's the problem. Sometimes they're copyrighting your voice. I'm dead ass serious.
Really?
Cut out huge chunks and segments of the fucking show.
Because the thing tells me what it is.
The best thing to do is if it's not removing it automatically, like I would just let it go.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's an actual strike,
right?
I don't fuck with them anymore. Or I
right.
Quit fucking with them.
Yeah, because it's like every show. Because you know what keeps
I can't tell you how many times during your intro you were muted out.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
I'm like, nah. Yeah,
oh, right. Crazy. Because it keeps what is it? Because it keeps dinging our intro. Right. And what's funny was that it turns out that song is part of the YouTube library. So I don't know why they're digging
both versions of it too.
Yeah.
The faster paced and the slower shield.
Right. Which makes it convenient for us. So
and I paid for that motherfucker. And I sent them my fucking I paid for it off of a different site one time.
Really?
1,700 character fucking approval code or whatever, that I'm able to use that for even monetization. And they still, even after sending that to them 500 times, we're still sending me it every fucking time we
right. Yeah. It's like
I don't even care anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in the end, yeah. I mean, okay, so maybe now I know not to do that because this was for Jose's thing. This was for Jose's show. And what keeps dinging us is people's Kickstarter videos.
Oh yeah, that'll happen too.
Yeah, it's like there was this one that I really had to cut out a segment because some They decided to use Pearl Jam on their video.
Are you serious?
And it's like, bro, really?
Bro, dude,
you know,
what?
so it's like, yeah, so I got the whole thing. It's like,
Unless
like
Eddie Vedder is your brother and he did that for you, you don't fucking touch them dudes.
Because we got that kind of like that stricter copyright, like it's not a strike, but but it's like, oh, I gotta cut that out.
It's gonna be if you don't take care of it in 30 days.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, okay. So I'll just do that then. It's like that unless it's an actual like danger Will Robinson, not to worry.
Don't because you'll drive yourself fucking crazy. I was doing it 20, like I would get up and like my literal day job takes me about 3 hours a day. If I sit down and I hit all my clients and everything, I'm done. I was spending 12 to 14 hour fucking days sometimes trying to balance YouTube, and I'm like, you know what? This is for and it pays nothing. So fuck it.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, we're kind of monetized, but we're not, but we still can get stickers and the donate. So I think as long as like everything else kind of works, I'm not going to really worry about AdSense. But it was just, speaking of AdSense, right? So a couple weeks ago, I had gotten a letter saying that I guess like whatever AdSense money I had in my own account, they were going to release it to the state because it was unclaimed. So they were giving me the opportunity to claim it.
The fuck?
The reason I wasn't able to have it was because it didn't reach the $100 threshold for that's right. And and it's like, and ever since I inherited the network, I now am able to continue building to that AdSense. So I don't have to worry about losing that that money anymore, because now the AdSense is like, oh, now it's connected to an actual monetized account. So, but it also kind of like made me realize it's like, wow, it's like, I was monetized for a short enough period of time to make $60 before they changed it. So now it's like you have to meet all this criteria to become monetized. This is before like you were just being on YouTube, you were automatically monetized. Right. And making AdSense money. And then they decide like, nah, too many of you are benefiting from this.
Right. Well, it's the same thing they're doing with Facebook now. Yeah, like all the creator accounts were monetized from Go. And now it's like,
now it's like
you still have the option, but they're going to make you fucking work for that. You are going to have to sell your soul for 50 fucking cents, and they can suck my dick.
Right. Yeah. And so it's like, it was just kind of like really, that was like a bit of a learning experience right there. But the thing is though, it's like that was, what's funny is that actually kind of leads into the topic that I wanted to talk about today.
This economy.
Right. Yeah. Because it's like there was also like another what was it? Oh, there was this video that I kind of caught a little bit of. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was about this woman who she moved. I think she moved like to the Fiji Islands or something. I don't know. She moved like to some like really.
She moved away from Soviet America.
Right. she moved. She became an expat in like some tropical country, right? And I found it interesting that she was talking about how she felt that as like she was a business, like kind of like a single business owner in the United States, but when she moved to wherever that she ended up moving, I don't remember. Like I said, I think it's like in one of the Polynesian
fucking
islands.
Paradise.
Yeah, she literally,
there's coconut trees and naked people on the beach.
Exactly, and she still runs her business, right? But what she said, like the biggest change that she encountered just by leaving the United States and working in another country is that she actually found herself able to actually grow her business. But not because that she was like stifled here in a certain way, but it was what happened is that by leaving the United States, she left the whole hustle culture bubble that Americans love so much. You know, that it's like, oh, someone's always working harder than you and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, if you're not grinding, someone else is. And like, if it's like a fucking zero-sum game, you know? And she realized that without that constant, that constant noise of like, you're not doing enough and you're doing it wrong and this, that, and the other thing. And also like the constant comparison to people who are more successful than you, which when you actually look at it, they're actually just faking being more successful than you. Cause that leads into another thing. Like these fake comparisons, right? That once that she was able to like physically and literally separate herself from being in that environment, she was actually able to grow her business. Like, because all these mental minefields were out of the way. And she was able to finally look at her business with like a certain level of clarity and go, oh, I can actually do it this way. I can actually do it that. I can actually do what I want to do without having to worry about this overall circus that is constant. Like you know what? It's like they're called. It's like they never get to be goalposts because they're never in a place long enough to be a goalpost.
They gotta move.
You know, it's just that they're just like one here. You know, it's like they're never like.
That's not goalposts. Those are hurdles.
Right. It's like not even. You know, it's like they never stay long enough to even be enough of a focus of attention so that you can, you know, so that you can aim for them, you know?
Right.
You know, it's like this constant barrage of clay pigeons, right? So, you know, so that kind of like, you know, so I found that kind of fascinating, you know, that it's like, you know, oh, that's really funny that it's like there's this other guy that I watch where he moved to Paris and he's finding it so much easier. I mean, aside from the Parisian bureaucratic system, which he says is like a nightmare. Like if there's one thing he appreciated the United States was not having a bureaucratic system this dense. But he said that it was a much, much easier to build a business the way he needed to in France than in the United States. And I kind of found that really, you know, and I found that really fascinating, you know? And there was like a couple of things that were like related, but they were not related, but kind of related if you really kind of like pull those ties together. And which kind of leads to the topic that I want to talk about, which is, well, okay, let me preface this because, you know, look, for those of you who haven't noticed, I probably have undiagnosed ADHD, so bear with me. So remember when the Keanu Reeves book first came onto Kickstarter?
Yeah.
I think this was back in like October 2020, right?
Yeah, it was way back when. Once upon a time,
right? And the significance of that was that it was, I think, like the first real big name campaign to come into the comic section. You know, up until that point, it literally was just
the first non-comic celebrity,
right? Something like that.
Yeah,
you know, like it was that significant. You know, it's like up until that point, it was just like pretty much indie people just doing what they were doing on Kickstarter,
right?
And then Keanu Reeves comes in with his comic. I forgot what company backed. I don't remember if it was IDW or Boom or whatever the fuck. Iran, Iraq. What's the difference? It's kind of like
Who
that
cares?
Type of thing, right? And what happened is, you know, like people started that there were like people who were kind of like, oh my God, Keanu Reeves is going to save indie comics because now he's on Kickstarter. I'm sure you remember that.
I remember. Right. And then somebody else was. And
you know, and at the same time, around the same time when everyone was going how Keanu Reeves is going to, save indie comics by, he's bringing in all this audience to Kickstarter and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to benefit from it. And it's like, and people were pretending that they were seeing shit that wasn't there, like, I benefited. It's like, no, you didn't, it's like, you were just like people were so hyped up at what they thought what the significance of this was, that they were imagining shit. Right. I remember at that time in kind of like the middle of all this, right? Because I remember at that time watching YouTube, but not YouTube as a platform. I mean, not YouTube as a channel, but YouTube as a platform. And I was seeing what was going on YouTube. While everyone else was jerking off to Keanu Reeves, I was like watching YouTube and like not liking what I was seeing there, going back to the whole monetization thing, right? My whole monetization and AdSense account, right? So around the same time, YouTube, I think, because I'm kind of wondering if that was also the same time that I lost my monetization, because they were doing like all of these changes and decided like, if you weren't at this threshold, you're not part of the monetization program. You don't get any AdSense and that. So at $60, that's where my account stopped. I think it was around the same time. And then it's like there was a lot of chatter in YouTube space how a lot of small creators were finding that the algorithm was no longer working in their favor. Stop me if this sounds familiar. Actually don't, because it's part of the story. So that they're saying that, that they saw a huge change, a huge shift in how YouTube promoted its content. And I think this was also around the same time where they were like switching over to an interest-based model instead of a subscription-based model. This is also when subscribes stopped meaning anything anymore.
Right.
And what was happening, it was that this was after an influx of huge companies deciding that they were going to rerun stuff on YouTube. Like you're talking about, like Universal Studios and NBC and CNBC and all these, CNN and all these big companies are like, you know what? It's like, it's at a point where people are watching YouTube more than they're watching television. So this is where we have to start putting our programming on YouTube. And then once that happened, YouTube started to change their algorithm to benefit these mega corporations on YouTube. Right. And then it's like all the smaller creators were all of a sudden like, what the fuck? It's like, it's like all of a sudden it's like people, and mind you, we're talking about people who like, they built their livelihoods on making content for YouTube and now they were cut off. It's like now all of a sudden they didn't have the same reach that they had, because it's like, now it's like, all the attention was being siphoned to the large companies that were paying for advertising and this, that, and the other thing and that whole thing, right? And then they changed the monetization system, cutting off a lot of people. So it's like, well, you don't meet this threshold, so poof, there you go, you're scraped off the table.
Right.
Well, I'm watching this, right? And then I'm turning around and I'm seeing Kickstarter welcoming in this large company with an even larger spokesperson onto Kickstarter, putting a campaign side by side with the rest of us. And I'm going, oh no. It's like, this is not good. This is not good. And I also remember being on shows and when everyone else again sucking Keanu Reeves' dick, and I'm like, nah,
Daphne's like, red flag.
It's like, no, you guys don't understand. It's like, because this is what's happening on YouTube. This is the start of what I saw on what I'm just witnessing on YouTube. Right. This is not good. And of course everybody called me a dingbat, and it's like, you don't know what you're talking about, and this blah blah blah, this is going to herald a new
them vaginas don't know nothing,
right. And it just got to a point, it's like, okay, fuck it. It's like, well, I'm going to keep an eye on this and I'm going to do what I need to do. But it's like, look, this is a warning sign. This is a trend of things to come. What's happening on YouTube. And then also, and then it's like, especially when you start remembering what happened on Twitter and, like all the other, and like Patreon and everything, right? And, but it's like, nah, I didn't know what I was talking about, right? How could I possibly think that this could be anything but good for indie comics, right? So flash forward to about, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And this comic book guy who struggles on Kickstarter with the rest of us, he posted an entire article about how Kickstarter has abandoned small comic book creators in favor of these larger companies moving, into Kickstarter. And now, like, the algorithm, all it does, instead of like promoting smaller campaigns, now all they do is just promote large campaigns. Melissa says, wouldn't the audience for that big company book not be the same audience for our books anyway? So I would think it wouldn't impact us as much, but I could be wrong too. Well, that was also part of the conversation where I was like going, what makes you think that the people who come in for Keanu Reeves is like going, oh, look at this cute little indie book that I got recommended.
No, but
at the
here's
bottom
where
of
it affects you. Here's where it affects you. Okay, Keanu is going to bring his audience, right? That's not going to benefit you at all. Right. But what might benefit him is your audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the fucking dilemma. That's where the problems come in.
Right. Because it's like, and that's exactly what happened. Right. So this guy posted the Substack about how Kickstarter is now catering all their, all their resources to these to maintaining these large companies. And now smaller creators are getting smaller and smaller and smaller percentage of the pie. It's like we have all these creators who are making bank during COVID, and now it's like they're just like they either plateaued or plateaued at a much lower level than they were back then, or they're still seeing significant cuts to their backer counts. It's like they're not making the same amount of money. In fact, they're having to work harder and harder to kind of stay in the same place. And I'm reading this article and and it's like, yeah, I told you so. It's like, yeah, this is the same shit that we're seeing on all these other platforms. And after that article, now it's like a lot more people are saying that, yes, something's going on at Kickstarter. They're spending, they're encouraging more larger companies to come in and this, that, and the other thing. And, and I'm here going, gee, if only somebody
had told us so.
Yeah, if only somebody was talking about that, right? So they're acting all surprised when it's like, look, I knew about it just by watching what happened on YouTube. I knew that this would eventually happen. So when it finally happened, I wasn't surprised. I was vindicated. Not that it matters in this grand scheme of things, it's not like I'm building myself up to be some kind of Cassandra. But the thing is that how different would it have been if everybody had actually noticed what was happening on YouTube and looked at Keanu Reeves and go, oh shit, this is not good. Like, how different would like people's perceptions would have been, like how they would have prepared differently if they made that connection early on, rather than like creating a fantasy version of what they thought this was going to be. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's like we got caught out there, because the ironic thing about it is that the same people who were saying that Keanu Reeves was going to save indie comics were the same people who bitched about Polito being on the platform. That how is it that they were gaining backers by Keanu Reeves, but Polito was stealing backers every time he ran a campaign? right? Because I would hear that all the time back then too, that people were upset. That's like, oh, my campaign's not doing well.
He's gone now.
Right. And he's gone.
Who's
right?
doing
and
it?
people are still like, I remember people saying, oh, my campaign didn't do well because Polito is running a campaign right now. Right. And I know that people would rather buy Lady Death than buy my book. And it's like, okay, but like you said, Polito,
He's
left.
gone now.
He's gone. But people are still going, oh, my campaign's still not doing very well. So I guess it wasn't Polito then. And and at the same time, it's like, well, where's your fucking God Keanu Reeves now? It's like, because whatever benefit that you imagined you were going to get from him, I mean, you're definitely not getting it now. Right. So the other thing, right, that kind of relates to this is I was watching this economist on YouTube, and he was talking about how like that they're saying that we're in a K-shaped economy. And what that means is that the smaller group of wealthier people are actually holding up the economy more than the 90% of us. That like 80, like it's kind of like now we're at a point where like 60% or 70% of the economy of consumption is the result of 10% of the population, of the wealthiest 10% of the population. And what that's done is that a lot of companies are moving their focus to catering to that 10% because they're the ones spending the money, which means, so it's like, they're like going, oh, we can ignore the 90% of the population. We could just cater. Like when Walmart is trying to put out luxury brands, something's fucking wrong, and and that's kind of like, oh, it's like, why would you, it's like, it's like, so that these companies, so that's the trend. That's the big trend now, that a lot of that what is supposed to be like middle brand companies catering to the rest of us, they're now moving their focus to catering to the 10% that's buying all the shit because they're the only ones with the money.
It's silent.
Yeah, it's a silent K.
Like knife and knock.
Right. So, and then on our end, everything gets more expensive for us as we subsidize that part of, that shift in the economy. Right. And there was something, right. So again, it's like, well, that's part of it, right? Because it's like, I think what it is that by people kind of like thinking that Keanu Reeves was going to be the savior, that I think a lot of people made decisions based on that fantasy version of what they thought Kickstarter was,
right,
to their own detriment. And in the end, that's kind of the point that I'm getting at here. Is that especially when on one hand we depend on these platforms for our livelihoods, or at least to produce what we produce, but at the same time we always have to wonder what would happen if they turned on us, because that's what always happens. Like there is not like, it's like, look, every platform is kind of shifting into that. We're going to cater our platform to that 10%, to the 10% of the people who spend the most money, who are going to buy the most ad revenue, that we're going to take the biggest cut from. They're not going to bother. It's like, yeah, technically they would make, it's like, yeah, sure. Could Kickstarter technically make more money if they helped the bottom, the bottom 75 to 80% of us, kind of, like raise.
Yeah, but that's work. They don't want to work.
Right. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, they could do that. They could, and they could help the 80% that, to raise our standards, to raise, help us raise more money so that they could get a bigger cut. But it's like, hey, it's a lot easier to just help 5 publishers. It's a lot easier to promote whoever's the fuck is putting out Transformers and G.I. Joe, make millions and millions of dollars and take a cut from that than to help the hundreds of people making 3,000 and helping us hit, I don't know, make 5,000 instead, make 10,000 instead. They're not going to do that. Does it make sense? No, but that's the trends. It's like they're going to cater to the people who require the least amount of effort to make the most amount of money.
Profit.
Yeah, to make the most profit.
That's how it works,
right?
Dude.
And the thing, and it's like, and when I was talking about the K-shaped economy and what was going on and applying that to Kickstarter, again, it's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make sense. And I go, it's the fucking economy. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't make sense because this is what the economy is doing. This is what these companies are doing. Right? So now the thing is, though, is that I'm not saying any of this to say that, oh, you not succeeding on Kickstarter is your fault. Or you succeeded or not succeeding on Kickstarter is not your fault. It's like what I'm saying is that we cannot, I think that as
you can't depend on the platform.
Well, right. But also as a creative community, we have this habit of only sticking to the information that directly relates to what we do.
Right.
Like if it's not about comic books, oh, it doesn't relate to us. Right. And what I'm saying is that a K-shaped economy has everything to do with what's happening on Kickstarter. What's happening to the economy overall has everything to do with what's going on Kickstarter, from the fact that people have less money to spend, but they will spend it on the things they want. And the trick is to be the thing they want. So it's like, it's kind of like, okay, if, it's kind of like, this is what's happening to the overall economy. This is how platforms are running. This is why Kickstarter is acting weird. This is why it's been weird, because something's going on, but it's because of what's happening over here. But because it's not comics, people are not looking over here. And then when they look over here, they're like, oh, that's peculiar. Why is Kickstarter doing that? Yeah, there it is right there. Right there. It's right there. It's right there. So it's like, so that's the thing. So what happens that because people are like, oh, that's peculiar, it's not peculiar, it's like, oh, all of a sudden, no, it's not all of a sudden, it's like, so like I said, so my point is that, how many decisions were made on the fantasy version, on the myopic version of what they thought Keanu Reeves symbolized on Kickstarter, rather than what they actually had to do. You know what I mean? Am I making sense here?
Yeah. Oh, Keanu, you're my only hope.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, no, he was supposed to be a warning, because it's like, look, it's like what Rob said. It's like, he's where he's at on Kickstarter because he used all that time to build an actual audience for his stuff. People, like, even in a shitty economy, there are people who go, I want the next Nightwolf. I'm getting the next Nightwolf regardless.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people kind of like missed that part because they thought that, oh, having these big companies, they're going to bring just bring people in and they're going to find my stuff and it's going to be, I don't have to do anything. When that is not the case. In fact, what those companies coming in actually actually showed you that you had to work even harder, because now you have to go around them to get the audience that probably would have casually have bought your stuff. But now that they're being inundated with all like, oh, Transformers and G.I. Joe and all like the all
Darkwing
these
Duck
legacy,
and
all these legacy IPs and legacy creators, right? Who are you? You know, because nostalgia's a motherfucker. If it's like, if somebody recognizes Transformers but doesn't recognize your stuff, what do you think their money's gonna go?
Yo, I'm guilty. I ordered gargoyles. I ordered Darkwing.
Right, exactly.
Like some other stuff. Yeah.
So it's like, so it's even more important.
Oh, and Jim.
Right. So it's right, but that's right. But that's what I'm talking about. Right. Very few people of that audience is going to come to you, but more people of your audience is going to go to them.
For sure.
I mean, and the question is that is the book that you're doing strong enough to hold on to both those hands? Like, if they were to go buy Gem or Transformers, is your stuff strong enough to
they're going to buy it too?
Buy it too, right?
Right.
And now it's like you're going to have to fight even harder for that, right? Which makes it even more important for you to find your audience. On a side note, there's always this comment that it's like, oh, Kickstarter doesn't owe us anything. Or like a platform, whatever, doesn't owe us anything. And I go, you know what? Me personally, if you build your platform off of my fucking back, you do owe me something.
You kind of do. Yeah.
You kind of do. But we know that these companies are not going to do that. We were only bait for the big fish that they really wanted. That's what.
And you guys did an outstanding job.
Yes, exactly.
But we don't need you anymore.
And IDW and Keanu Reeves didn't build Kickstarter. We built Kickstarter. Or at least the comic book section. We built it. We built Kickstarter. Yes, Skinny beat up Steve Rogers. I can do this all day. Yeah, exactly. We built Kickstarter. Keanu Reeves didn't build Kickstarter. None of these platforms ever start off with a big name in their roster. They start with us.
Yep.
So to say that they don't owe us anything is ignorant, because they wouldn't have their big fish because of us. But then again, nobody poses with the bait, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, these are the guppies that I got my big
minnows. Guppies are illegal.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Why? Because guppies are what? They're the pets?
Because guppies were like hybrid or like going hybrid with minnows and fucking destroying the native population. Like, you can take a cast net now to a random ditch in Louisiana. When I was a kid, you could just pull out silver minnows, right? Now you can pull out full-on fantail fucking guppies out of a goddamn ditch.
Wow.
Or these fucking fat-ass minnows with red streaks and blue streaks in their tails.
Wow, so they're an invasive species then.
Very much so.
I did not know that. So nobody poses with the little minnow that got them that giant ass tuna, right? But they needed, but they couldn't get the tuna without the minnow or whatever the fuck. I don't know anything about fishing any more than I know about baseball or football. Fuck it.
I know, put the worm on the hook and stick it in the water.
Exactly. So that's kind of right. So like I said, it's like, they do fucking owe us, but like I said, they're not going to do that anyway. That was never the point. That was never the intention.
Never. No.
So the point is that, okay, so what do we do with that information then? It's like when we're looking at what the economy is, we're looking at, we're looking at an economy that's catering to a wealthier audience, right? And leaving the rest of us behind to rot,
Right.
It's like when we're looking at platforms, right? It's like where they want to, I think you need beer to fish.
Yeah, probably. At least some smoke.
that's why, it's like, and the thing is, it's like, and that's why in the end, I became very, very sour on the whole social media thing, and it's like, and I've pretty much, and it's like, and I pretty much stayed off of it. It's like, I have my little moments where I'm scrolling Instagram or whatnot, or looking at porn art on Blue Sky, which is all I have it for. But like actually using it as promotion, it's like, I just like, what, there are other ways for me to do this. There has to be other ways for me to do this.
Well, sure, there are other ways, but you can't say it doesn't work, because I mean, we watched the click-through rates on some of the comics and stuff, and a lot of movement is still from like Facebook. Blue Sky is picking up immensely. Like I'm noticing like 80% of clicks are coming from Blue Sky that are on the URLs I make for the social media accounts.
Well, but how much of those click-throughs like convert into sales?
See, that's the part you can't see. But I see the majority of views coming from. So it's like somebody there's got to be like 1,300 people didn't click in the past 24 hours and nobody bought anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And and the thing, and like I said, it's like, and it also had helped reduce a lot of the noise in my head. Oh, you're not doing enough. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. Of course you're failing and blah, blah, blah. And this, and it's like, you know what? I don't need to hear that shit.
Right.
It's like, you know what? It's like, how about everybody just worry about their own fucking thing? And it's like, you know what? Very few people are actually, succeeding at this, and a lot more are faking their success.
Well, you're
than
also
they are actually succeeding.
You're also talking about individuals versus teams,
right? Yeah,
you are solo in promoting your shit and stuff like that, whereas the ones that are more successful are not doing it themselves because they're paying people to go out to 15 million
It's
places.
Like, what do you think that Polito is fulfilling his own shit? Of course not.
Nah, fuck no.
Do you think that they just had Sworn Fest? I think like over the weekend or something, or like the weekend before. And it's like, what do you think? Do you think Polito runs that shit himself? Absolutely not.
No,
he has an entire team of people. He has a bankroll, and that's the thing, right? It's like we're talking. It's the whole thing about It's like the overall thing is that people want to see. They want to see mainstream results from individual effort,
right?
And it's like, and it doesn't work like that, but and the thing is, it's like, as an individual, it's like, there's only so much you can do, it's like, in terms of resources, it's like, it's like, I still remember, it's like, Gemini laughing, literally the fucking AI was laughing at me when I asked them about doing a Facebook campaign on a budget of $200, and the Gemini goes, "You've got to be kidding me. No fucking way." It's like, well, and then it goes, "Oh, I can give you a plan, but it's the margins are incredibly tight and it has to work perfectly." And it's like, literally the shit is telling me that you don't have enough money to advertise. And then it tells me, and then take a Wookiee, absolutely. and you know what? Look, we can't afford, not everyone can afford Wookiees. We're lucky we can get a Jar Jar. And it's like, sad. Right. And it's like, and the thing tells me that to make $10,000 on Kickstarter, you have to spend $2,000 on Facebook on advertising. It didn't specifically say Facebook ads, but it's just advertising. It's like, you know what, bro? If I had $2,000 just lying around, I'm not going to shit it on advertising. So, which according to a saying that Jose said his father would tell him, that if you want to spend $2,000, you need to have $10,000 at home or something to that effect. Right. Which means that even if I had $2,000 to blow, it means that I already have a stockpile budget that can afford that $2,000 for me to spend to make that $10,000 on Kickstarter, which, mind you, and spending that money doesn't guarantee that you're going to make $10,000 on Kickstarter anyway. So we're talking about, you know, you have $2,000 to blow on a maybe.
Right.
You know, you know, so I was just like, kind of like, I don't know. So just this entire, so I think it kind of links that other conversation that we had about our fantasy selves for the new year, how it's like that we kind of like, we create a schedule based on a fantasy version of ourselves, not what we can actually do. And I think this is kind of like the comic creation version of that, where it's like we're creating comics based on a fantasy version of how we think the industry runs, on how things work, rather than what's actually happening. So it's like, yeah, if Kickstarter, like, because really, if Kickstarter were to disappear tomorrow, would you be prepared to deal with that? You know, I mean, and we don't, I mean, it's like, it could be possible that Kickstarter is more like, will have the longevity of a YouTube rather than X, Twitter.
Well, sure.
You know, more likely than not, you know, but it's like, what other decisions are we making, you know, for that possibility? Because it has happened. You know, it's like, you know, we're not on MySpace, are we? We're not on LiveJournal.
I miss MySpace.
You know, so, you know, so in terms of the internet, you know, you can't really just say, oh, this will be here forever.
Right.
You know, we can hope, but even when it's here forever in terms of the internet, i.e. like a platform like YouTube, right? We've seen the changes, the algorithmic changes, the whole like policy changes and everything that happened on YouTube. Same thing that happened to Patreon. It was, you know, the second they decided to fuck with policy, all of a sudden everybody is like struggling. They say that someone like Sakimi Chan, who was one of the first adapters of Patreon, making 6 figures a month, like someone like them couldn't happen on Patreon anymore.
No, they won't allow it
because they've changed it so much so that it couldn't happen. You know how we kind of talk about Image couldn't happen anymore? Right. You know, the original Image with Todd McFarlane and everything, that could not happen anymore.
Right.
The age of the superstar creator is long gone. You know, and it's the very companies that created them, that created the superstars, that made sure that it didn't, that doesn't happen again.
It couldn't happen again.
Right. You know, like I think it's even safe to say that even something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles couldn't happen anymore, because it required such a specific time in the industry for it to happen that doesn't exist. We don't even have the amount of stores anymore for something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to explode on its own. You know? So, you know, so it's like, so knowing that, even inside our own comic book bubble, right? It's like knowing that, it's like, what decisions are we making? Because in the end, we only have control over what we do. We can talk all day about, well, yeah, the economy's K-shaped, and this is what Twitter did. This is what, Patreon did. This is what Kickstarter did. It's like, you know, in the end, it's like, I could say, it's like, you guys fucking owe me, but they're not going to do anything. I have no control over their responses. None of us do. Because in the end, they don't give a shit about the 80% of us bitching in their surveys. You know, they only care about what Brandon Sanderson is bringing to the table. They only care about, I don't know, because what's funny is that in traditional publishing, the small, the self-published authors are complaining about the same thing that's happening on their end. that it's like, they're crying about how, Kickstarter is not for people like Brandon Sanderson, and there's this author, Carl Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, those are
like he's the big one that they're all complaining about now. It's like, why is he on Kickstarter? He's already an international bestseller.
So fucking what?
He
has just as much right to be there. That's how I feel about it. Like, it sucks for the little guy,
but it's right. But that's that's the same thing that we're complaining about. That it's like, why does IDW need to be? It's like it's only through sheer luck that Marvel and DC hasn't come on to Kickstarter yet. Mostly because I think that they don't want to bother on their own. Instead, it's the licensors that come on Kickstarter. So we deal with the licensors of these IPs, not the actual company itself. So it's kind of funny how even the small press authors are complaining about the same thing. And I'm sitting back going, it's like, welcome to the party. That's the shit that was happening. Yeah, that's the shit that was happening on our end. But then conversely, you had these two authors know nothing about comics. And I do have to admit, I am very salty about this. These two authors, one of them, they were actually at Monsterotica. Both of them are USA Today bestsellers, whatever the fuck, right? So they teamed up with these artists to do comics for, like little comic things for their book, for their novels, right? So 2 comics, 20 pages. And they says, let's do a Kickstarter. So I decided, like, you know what? Let me see how this goes. Or to see, because it's like, you remember me talking about, how Monsterotica was big on art and blah, blah, blah. And comics was the next trend there and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, let me see how this goes. They're going to do a Kickstarter for a comic that these authors wrote. Now, I'm going to preface this. These are both porn comics. Okay. I'm just going to say it like that. These are both porn comics. They're 20 pages each, right? 2 authors. They launched the Kickstarter. Within an hour, not even 45 minutes, they hit 30 grand. Last I checked, they were at 50 grand and they still had about like 27 days to go. Like, this shit is just, The campaign, Nita, I think I sent you I sent you the link to it. And I was like, the campaign is for 2 20-page comics for $75.
Oh, damn.
For $200, you can get the 2 20-page comics and a couple of prints and some stickers for $200.
Holy shit. No, I haven't seen that.
The shit is like, it's already, I think, like 400 backers or something. And
crap.
Yeah, they're at like $55,000 or something, and they still have till the end of the month.
Oh my God.
And I sat there salty as fuck.
I want to fucking see this shit.
Because I was going to buy it because, like, let me support them because, and then it's like, I'm not paying $75 for 2 fucking 20-page comics.
Oh, you did send me a link. I'm in the wrong chat.
And these are people, and I was telling Jose about this, and Jose was looking at it, and it's like, and he was like, it's like these bitches be scamming. And I go, and I'm like going,
yeah, they are.
These women don't know anything about comics as an industry, about comics as a whole. They just saw, we can use Kickstarter, and we're going to do comics, right? And they put their shit on Kickstarter. They put their shit in the comics section. And within 45 minutes,
Jesus,
they are selling. I mean,
and they set a $15,000 goal to start, which is absolutely crazy.
They did everything.
They got it.
They did everything that we tell people not to do. The books are not finished, right? They started off with a very high goal, right? It's a very expensive campaign, right? They've never done campaigns before. As far as the other advice, it's like, well, no one's heard of you, right? Silly me. Here I was thinking that they had to follow the rules that we follow being in indie comics when they're not in indie comics. They could give a rat's ass about indie comics. They could give a shit about the history of what we do and, the legacy of, of just comics in general and indie comics and alternative comics and all that stuff. All they saw was that these two authors wanted to do porn comics based on their novels, right? Just do these 20-page comics and then put them on Kickstarter. They don't even know what variant covers are. You know what they're offering? They're offering variant dust covers for the comics. So you have the comics that have the pornographic cover, and then you can pay extra for dust jackets for the comics. Who puts dust jackets on comics? Nobody puts dust jackets on comics. That's for books. But here they are completely ignoring entirely what we do. They're living in and they're working in a completely different circle that has nothing to do with looking at what we're doing. Oh, what do comic people do? Fuck them. Who cares what comic people do? We're going to do it ourselves. We're going to do it our way. And they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. And it's like, yeah, and I'm still kind of salty about it. But at the same time, it's like, what does this show, right? What does this campaign show me, right?
God, you had me cracking up while I'm trying to stop the toilet from overflowing.
Oh, no.
Like I had to run. Dust covers for comics. Oh, my God.
Dust covers for comics.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I mean, it is like everything that if one of us had done, we'd be like, are you stupid?
Like, they special.
Super
special.
But like I said, it's like, so I'm looking at this campaign. What did I learn? What did I learn from this campaign?
Not a goddamn thing.
No, actually, I learned a couple of things.
The rules do not apply.
That when your audience is big enough, the rules don't apply.
Right.
But you have to have that audience first. That really, it's like, it's the same thing with what Rob said, right? That it's like the reason why that he's able to kind of, get through everything that's going on is because he has an audience big enough that's going to push him through that. And and it's like, and also it's like, look, also it helps too that, these are two, but the thing is, in the end, it doesn't matter how they made that audience. It's the fact that they have that audience. And in the end, it's like, if you think about it, 400 people is not a lot of people. If I had 400 people buying my shit, I wouldn't be here bitching every week. I mean, really, it's like, it's one of those things where it doesn't take much, but to get that number, to get 400 people to support your campaign at the same time, it's like, that's the biggest hurdle as small press that we have to get over. It's like, if we could just get that many people to pledge to our shit at the same time, then it doesn't matter what happens on these platforms. It doesn't matter who Kickstarter decides to promote instead of, you. It's like everything else doesn't matter. But the irony of it is that, kind of like without these platforms, how do we build that audience then? I mean, that's kind of, that's kind of the dilemma, and I think that in the end, it's like listening to people kind of like, oh, that's peculiar, that's unusual, how could we have predicted this, and blah, 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 is that if guess what I'm getting at is that it's very important for us to not have a myopic view of what we're doing, that we really do. Like, you know what? The outside world, how things that we think don't affect us actually affect us, you know? And kind of like if they're, right. It's like if their audience will buy it. Right. Exactly. Right. I mean, it's like, kind of thinking about, because that was like really bugging me. It's like, why is this bugging me? Right. And I think what it is that on a certain level, it's bugging me because, it's like every week we get like this, like, oh, it's about the rules, right? Well, if you do this, that'll happen. If you need to do that, then you have to do this. Like there just seems to be like there's all these rules that keep like falling on top of us, that keep like, like, again, it's that noise, it's like, it's like, well, if you do this, you have to do that. If you can't, you can't do that. It's like, oh, if you're going to do this, why would you want to do that? This, that, and the other thing. Right. And in the end, it's like, I think it is. I think what kind of irritates me is like, well, here's this campaign that's showing me that they could succeed in comics without having to follow any of our rules at all. The only rule they had to follow was, do we have an audience big enough to support this?
And they only seem to have like 3 different pieces of art for you to look at. Don't even know if they're
not even interiors.
They don't even one is very questionable. It's like, is this AI? Like,
no, because I follow the artist. I follow the artist on Instagram, so I know that this is not AI.
So they don't have anything.
So they didn't follow any of the rules that we keep telling ourselves that we have to do, and it's all because they have the audience who will buy whatever it is that these 2 authors put out, the whole parasocial accessory, right? They're not buying these comics because they're comic fans. They're buying these comics because they're an accessory to the authors that they like. So I'm saying, and it's like, look, not for nothing, it made me rethink. It made me think back to Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut.
Right.
That was the campaign. It was my whole Eagle Raven pornography campaign, trying to manufacture a $10,000 campaign, which I didn't make it to 10,000. Look, the campaign made it close, but my volume.
Oh, the dust jackets are because they're going to have hardback books.
Oh, because they're doing hardbacks of the cover of the comics. It's not like novels, because I actually contacted the woman running the campaign.
Seriously?
And I asked her, are there any novels? It's like, is it really just for 2 comics? Is it for 2 comics? Or is there going to be novels? Like, no, it's just for the 2 comics. There are no novels involved. They're making hardcover.
Oh, they sure are. Here it is. You'll receive a printed copy of the comics in hardcover.
In hardcover for 20 pages, with 20 pages.
Oh my god!
So
it's going to look like a little golden book on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine any of us did that shit.
I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
I would be laughed out of here
for sure. Oh my gosh!
But they don't have to follow the rules, because all they needed was an audience that'll put up with it. That an audience that'll support it. That an audience goes, this is perfect.
436 people have given them $52,500.
Yeah.
So, jeez.
Fuck. So yeah. So like I said, it made me think back to Viking Slut and the lessons that I learned from that. Right? Because the lessons that I learned from that were not the lessons I thought I was going to learn from it. It's like, was I salty that I didn't in the end manufacture a $10,000 campaign? No. But the biggest lesson that I learned from that campaign, that bitches love porn.
Yeah.
That was the first time I got a sense of the whole monster smut connection.
Oh, yeah.
Like I got a, it was the first time because I was cross posting with an author. So it was, so I was like kind of like getting a hint of that at the time. And I honestly, I didn't understand what I was looking at the time. I really didn't. And the fact that I had gotten there were like so many female names on the backer list when I was fulfilling, so many. And it really, it's like, I don't know if I would have done anything different had I have like realized what I was looking at, because like in the end, it's like.
I would not have Viking slut in the URL.
Well, yeah, I would have done that differently.
That's what I would have done different.
That was the only, honestly, if there was anything, I would have done that differently. I would have had the word slut in the URL. But I wouldn't be surprised if that made all the difference. But so yeah, so it's like could I have been taking advantage of this type of audience a lot sooner? Yeah, but it would have distracted me from the main storyline that I felt was the most important to tell.
Right.
So, so in the end, that was a decision I had to make. Like, could I have completely switched gears and catered to this audience, to this type of audience and maybe grown my audience that way? Sure, I could have. But the other thing that I learned from the campaign was that it was the most backers that I had, but those backers didn't return for the regular issues. They just wanted the smut. They just wanted smut. They just wanted unicorn werewolf smut. That's all they wanted. So in the end, I had to make a decision based on that. And now, looking back, and it's like, well, I had my chance. I could have been maybe not making the same amount of money, but, I could have like encouraged more of that storytelling, but I decided something else was more important. So do I grow my audience a lot slower because of that? Yeah. Am I completely salty about it? No, because this is the story I want to tell. It's like it's like medieval unicorn Viking slut doesn't mean anything without the main storyline.
Yeah, right.
I mean, well, it doesn't mean anything to me. And
it would mean so much more to them if they
right.
realized that they needed this whole backstory.
Right, exactly. So am I taking the long way around? To build, to get to a point where I'm building an audience.
Maybe, but it's a prettier route.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's the scenic route.
It is.
Yeah. Would it have been easier if maybe it's like I concentrated more on,
monster fucking?
That? Yeah. It's like, sure, I could have done that too. But you know what? Let's do it right. If you're going to do something, do it right. That's. I'd rather finish the main story and then slowly get to the other stuff and be ready for it than kind of like force myself into doing it and then kind of like, and then regret that I'm not. It's like, look, I already regret not finishing Tall Tales when I should have. It's like, I'm not going to do the same thing with this. So, in the end, it's like, yeah, that was the decision that I made. Right. So, I don't know. It's like maybe that's kind of what I'm getting at, that it's like that we shouldn't be so myopic that we forget like what exactly we're working for. It's like if in the end we're trying to build this story platform, we're trying to build this creative endeavor that got us into comics to begin with. It helps if we know the environment that we're in, kind of like beyond our walls, right? So that we can make more informed decisions.
There's a whole world out there.
Yeah. And especially like if you're going to make business decisions, I mean, it kind of blows my mind that there are people making business decisions about their comics without knowing the overall economy that the business is based on. Like I find that completely nuts. Like, how can you say, it's like, oh well, Kickstarter and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, you just got to do this, that, and that. And then it's like, yeah, but do you know that that is happening over here, and that might be an issue later down the road? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That has nothing to do with me.
I love shitting in cereal every morning.
And then it's like, a year and a half later, they're like, oh, this was not supposed to happen. How did this happen? I mean, it's like that's kind of the thing. That's like, I'm not, it's like, I just think that it's like, look, if you're going to run a business, it's only to the benefit of your business to understand like how these platforms are run, like how it attaches to the overall economy, and how and what the overall business trends are that are trickling down to us. To say that a K-shaped economy doesn't affect you, it's like, what do you mean it doesn't affect you? Of course it's affecting you. That's what this is. But also the thing is too, it's like, it's like, just by looking at comics and not looking at what like other genre, not other genres, like maybe like other related publishing businesses are doing,
right.
Like, but in the end, it all boils down to, you need an audience. It's like,
right.
Like, no matter what, your main decisions have to be based on how am I going to, it's like, how do I grow this audience that'll support me through whatever nonsense the economy is. No
one is being murdered in my background. If y'all are hearing the screams, okay, like the kids have
it's either the kids or it's Einstein.
Well, they have a new VR headset.
Oh, okay.
And like that shit is wicked cool.
Right.
So it feels so real. And they're playing Five Nights at Freddy's, so they're getting a lot of jump scares.
That's the worst. So that's probably the worst game. The best or the worst game to play with a VR headset.
Look, man, I tried it, like, not to go way off topic, but I tried it for myself because I was like, whatever. Because the last time I saw VR, it was Tron looking.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Bro, it's like being in the fucking place. Like,
it's like, look, I can't even watch a walkthrough of Five Nights at Freddy's.
The first jump scare I had, I took the headset off, and I'm like, I get how y'all like it, but it
this is like too much.
No, it was too much.
Right. Because it's like, I can't even watch a walkthrough of it. And it's like, I can't imagine doing it in VR. But I don't know.
You don't move. That's what's weird.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like those dreams, like you do move. You move your arms and shit, but you can't like take off running because the room you're in looks like it's massive. It looks like you could run 100 yards, but you're gonna fucking run into a wall.
Right. Well, because I guess like haven't that when they first came out with VR tech, the VR tech, like there would be videos of people actually trying to like escape, like physically.
Yes.
And they're like throwing themselves over their sofas
because
and shit.
You feel like you need to fucking run, but you don't run. You just do the triggers.
Right.
And it was really fucking hard not to do that. So in turn, it made me feel like I was having one of those nightmares where you can't scream.
Oh no, those are the
Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
It was too overstimulated. It was way too overstimulating for me.
Yeah, no, I hate those dreams. I hate them.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
That was drawn by Jaden.
Oh, yes. No, I really like that. I
have a couple other variants she's working on. One's a stoner, the other's me fighting with the cat. And, Yeah.
Oh, those are fun. Yeah, because it's like, I think it's like in the end, it's incredibly appropriate. If you're not going to be on camera, you should have a very appropriate avatar of you, but I don't know. It's like, did I make any sense with that whole thing?
No, you totally made sense. It's just what it is. Like,
it's like, because honestly, it's like, I just, I'm just the type of person that I don't like watching people bump into walls, like running into walls. It's not like I said, it's not like, it's like, oh, I'm a Cassandra or something, but it's just like, I just like, bro, there's this brick wall.
You're right.
Brick wall. It's like, I don't want you to hurt yourself, you know, and it's like, yeah, it's because it's like, because to me, it's like, you know, if all of us, it's like, you know, I want all of us to succeed at this. I want all of us, you know, to live our creative, you know, whatever we're trying to, you know, do here.
Dream,
Yeah,
whatever.
you know, like, yeah, I want us, you know, to be happy at this, to succeed at this.
Live your passion.
You know, right? You know, it's like because it's like, you know, it's like what are you gonna do? It's like you're gonna go work on Wall Street, you know, work at Chipotle. What are you gonna do? You know, it's like, well, maybe you're doing that anyway, but this is a good release. You know, doing comics on the side, you know, it activates your brain. You know, it's like you know, gives you creative muscles, and you know, in the end, it's like I just want to cheer everybody on. But
I
it's
like release with creative juices.
Oh, there you go. Well then.
Sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know. It was impulsive.
It took a while. It's like, look, this is the longest you probably went.
I've tried to be semi-professional. It does not work for me.
No. Well, okay. But, you know, but everyone knows what I mean, right? It's like, you know, it's like,
right.
I just, you know, it's like, look, I just want people to be informed so that they make good decisions. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm making good decisions too, but I try. I try.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Well, that's always our disclaimer for the show. It's like, look, you know, in the end, it's like I can only talk about what works, what I feel works for me, but like everybody else has to follow their own path, you know? You know, some things work for me, may not work for you. And there's some things that work for you that don't work for me. You know, it's like, look, Rob's telling me about how he spent.
Damn, I thought we were about to break into facts of life there.
Right. You know, it's like, he's, you know, Rob is telling me how, you know, he's, you know, it's like, oh, he's seeing some success with Facebook ads. And I'm like going, that's great, bro. They suck for me. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I spend that much money on Facebook ads and I just get trolls and weird comments. And it's like, and that's it. You know, I don't get people buying shit. So I don't know. Right. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I can only do in the end what works for me and not do the things that don't work for me, you know? Right. But all, you know, it's like, cause yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just build your audience. That's really what it boils down. It's like, you know what? If there's a secret to anything, it's build your audience. Yeah. Get your audience so that no matter what happens in comics, if Kickstarter were to disappear tomorrow, you have 400 people. You can have 400 people buying your shit off of your website, which by the way, I spent the weekend fixing. So, yeah, so I forgot. Yes. So you can, well, this is for my mailing list. So if you head on over, which you can sign up for anyway. But yeah, I had spent the weekend fixing up my website, not my website, my store and Jose's store. So Jose has his own store now. Nice. So if you wanted to just, you know, not worry about Kickstarter, you can buy the books directly. You can buy books directly from me. I put the House of Bob, all the House of Bob sketchbooks, all the sketchbooks are up now on my store. All the Eagle Raven issues so far are on the store. A lot of the Tall Tales books are back in stock. I finally did a restock of Tall Tales. So that people can pick up the trade paperbacks now, which just reminds me that I have to put them on the next Eagle Raven campaign as well. Now that I have them in stock, so that's kind of like if you can get 400 people to go buy from your own store, that's the trend that I'm seeing happening in traditional publishing too. A lot of authors are leaving Amazon and they're telling their audience, if you want to get my books, you have to come to my website. So, you know, Godspeed to everybody who can get their audience to actually do that. So, you know, but like, cause in the end, it's like, that's what it boils down to. The more that we can cut off our dependence on these ever-changing platforms, you know, I think like the more stable we can become, because we control the audience directly.
Right.
But hey, that's a tale as old as time, right? So thank you everybody for listening to me ramble. I'm sure it makes sense to somebody, but hey. So Nita, any final thoughts about anything?
Yeah, look. This fat little bastard said, 6 more weeks of this bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. He's cute though. I mean, like, look at that. Oh,
right.
Poor exploited baby.
Right. But
I do want to kiss his cheeks though.
But he just did say, fuck y'all. I'm going back to bed. Damn it. I really hate this cold. I really hate, because this shit is just like taking forever to melt. It's just like, ugh, I hate it. Actually what I hate more are the people who never bother to shovel their shit. So all you get is like this tiny little goat path, instead of like a whole sidewalk, which they should have shoveled. And so it's like, it makes it really hard.
And that's why I could never live there, because I would be that neighbor. I'd be like, fuck you, get a sled. I'd give you trash can lids or something to pass my yard. Because
it's like, because I literally can't go to the supermarket because I can't get my little trolley through. And so it's it's like, I go, fuck this. And for some reason, sanitation never shovels out the crosswalks. They'll shovel the road so the cars can get through, but fuck you if you're a pedestrian. This has always been the case. It's like, really, it's like, I never understood that. It's like, you would think the crosswalks would be a priority,
right?
But nah. It's like you crawling over that shit,
Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on this Monday in February, which came way too fast for me. I hate it. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for joining us. Thank you for Michael for another donation. Thank you so much. You don't need to, but we appreciate it. It all goes to the bills. Now that I'm paying the bills, your donation goes straight to the bills to pay for the Streamyard and everything.
Bitch, what do y'all think I was doing with all these millions of dollars?
Yeah, I know. Everything goes now. Everything continues to go to the bills. Everything continues to go to the bills. It doesn't change. We don't get to we don't buy a Starbucks because of
YouTube couldn't even afford my weed habit, dude.
Yeah, really. Oh my goodness. And thank you so much to all the beautiful eyeball people watching us in the background, or listening to us in the background, or watching, however you do it. Thank you so much for having us in the background. You could be listening to anything else, but instead you decided to listen to us ramble and kids being murdered in the background. But hey, it's like, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, if you can, make sure to share, leave a comment, and subscribe, so you never miss out. Yeah, do your thing, because the algorithm gods, as much as we talk shit about them, the algorithm gods still need to be kept happy. So you know how it goes. So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and everything else, you're going to head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can read Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, for free. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to talltalesonline.com. That's TAILS. And you can read the archive there, over 1,000 pages of anthropomorphic fantasy. It's furry shit. You're going to love it. It's great. It's better than doom scrolling. There you go. So, and remember also, you don't forget while you're on the websites to sign up for my newsletter where you can keep up to date with all. There we go. There's the QR code. You can keep up to date with all of my new art, sketchbooks, comics, and Kickstarters, as well as get a free PDF comics bundle just for joining, just for signing up. You get to try out Eager Raven for free, Tall Tales for free, and the Oswald Chronicles for free, just for joining.
All for free.
All for free.
Free sex, free drugs, free everything.
Well, that's when you sign up. That's when you finally get your OnlyFans.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm actually very interested to see how that experiment goes. So, hey, whatever works, right? Whatever works. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Have a safe rest of the week. Maybe I'll run the whole look. Things have just been going on. I'm going to try to get a live stream on Wednesday. So most likely I'll see everybody on Wednesday for my live stream. It's 2 hours of me just working and talking to the chat and being even more ridiculous because the conversation is even more random. So it's kind of like being at a convention, but not having to worry about blocking my table. So, so join me on Wednesday as well. So that's it for us. Thank you. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?